Welcome to Smart Talk. And we're a little silly today because we're going to be talking about, if you can't tell, Melissa has on the Mickey ears for a reason. We're talking things about Disney and their prices. So welcome everybody to...
That's where the ears start. When you talk about the prices, they go.
Oh, I know. I love your ears, though. When did you get those?
Well, I will say that this is from a friend of mine. Sent me these when she was down at Disney World, Walt Disney World, because we can talk about how you have to say Walt Disney World, okay. And that she got these when they first were released, and got me some for me and my son. So for our trip.
What year? Do you remember what year they were released?
That's a good question, because we have been meaning to take our son. We were supposed to take him last October. And so we delayed the trip till this September, and then we delay it again to 2022. So he was supposed to go, at 5. So I'd say probably 2018, I think, is when she sent me these. I'm not sure. So
you know what I'm going to tell you, Melissa?
They're great, though. I
love
them.
It's not a bad thing that you didn't go last year, because the older he is, the easier it is on you.
That is true. And he gets to do more things. He gets to do more. He may not be as into, let's say, the ones dressing up, but he'll be more into, the bigger rides and the more fun things.
Because he
can walk around by himself.
Yeah, we took a list
not
at
by
5.
himself, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, just let him go.
I know. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have to have a stroller is what I'm saying.
And
right. You'll need a stroller.
Heat, the older kids, I think, handle it better.
And they remember it, because I was going to say, Alyssa went at 5 and she barely remembers anything, bits and pieces. It was the most wonderful day. We stayed at the Animal Kingdom one, and we had giraffes coming in our window, whole 9 yards, and she remembers just a little.
I was 7.
8.
I was
8, 9.
I was 7, and I remember a lot, and it looks like he's going to be 7. So
that's perfect.
Hopefully,
that's perfect.
So
I was like 36.
I was too. I was always in my 20s.
Well, sometimes you have to wait to 36 to be able to afford the trip. So
which is what we're talking about today. And I love Disney so much.
Tigger.
And Tigger is my buddy. I just absolutely love Tigger. I have a Tigger costume. Of course, that probably doesn't surprise you guys that I have a Tigger costume.
Well, she's part Tigger. So.
I'm part Tigger. It's part of my nationality. I'm
exactly.
part Tigger. But it really does have it. We're going to talk about Disney and the affordability and unaffordability of it right now. And in 2021, we're going to have a discussion about this and our feelings on it and some stats that I have. But the Tigger is so important to me because when I had cancer in 99, I remember my Mary Kay director, who was like a second mom to me. We just got the news. I had not even I just had the surgery, and they took out my vocal cord nerve and took out all this stuff. And she bought me a Tigger, and you hit it on its head and it says, "Woo, I'm going to bounce." And she goes, "You're going to bounce back in no time." And they always thought of me as a Tigger because I'm very positive and I'm energetic and always bouncing off the walls. But
you're very Tiggerish, yes.
I'm kind of Tiggerish. But that moment, Tigger meant even more to me because it shows me, and I try to reiterate this to the world, have bounce back ability, bounce to the top, and just be resilient. So I do adore Tigger. So
it's funny. Well, I just want to quickly, it's funny you say that these different characters mean different things for different reasons. I have a buddy. Well, yeah, exactly. I have a friend who adores Tigger too, because he actually got lost at Walt Disney World when he was a kid, and he was terrified. And it was the Tigger character that came up and took him and walked with him and stayed with him until he got back with his parents. And he has worshipped Tigger ever since. So
as he should.
Just sweet.
Isn't that neat things that mean things to people? Well, it's these type of things that really, I want people to be able to go to Disney. I want all families to be able to explore Disney, because we're going to talk now about, is there alternatives and what else can we do if it's becoming so unaffordable? And I just saw a tweet 2 weeks ago that said Disneyland, I think, is raising their prices again. And some of the comments, it said Disney now is 5,000% more expensive now than it was 60 years ago. And I don't think there is an alternative for children. When they live and breathe Disney, you're going to take them I know there's other places you can go to, but it's not Disney. You're not going to see Tigger and Winnie the Pooh and Mickey Mouse anywhere else but Disney. And Disney knows that. So it also said the average family of 4 now, it costs $526 a day just to enter in, not including all the things you have to buy your kids. Never mind some sodas and some popcorn and some food.
So where are you going to stay?
And don't even get a start on the staying. And through the comments, I'm just going to let you go with is somebody said on this one, it said, Disney's raising their prices yet again. It goes, I want to visit Disney, not buy it. Another one says, I'm going to need to sell a kidney to go now. And the other one said, this increase is insane. Disney should be accessible to everyone. And that leads me into, should it be as a business? What are your thoughts on these price increases, Disney as a business versus every child needs to experience Disney if they can? What are your thoughts?
Mark, what do you think?
Well, why does Disney charge those outlandish prices? Because people will pay them.
Yeah. There is no
I mean, I can't be making money. It's what they do.
Right.
And think about it. The last time I was there, and matter of fact, the last time I was in the Orlando airport, look at the Orlando airport. It is a big international hub where people come from all over the world to do what?
Say Mickey.
Go see Walt Disney World.
And yeah, and so, you know, I get it. It's expensive. I never went as a kid, and I understand why, you know, because it just wasn't affordable in the 70s. I mean, especially from New York. I mean, it wasn't, and back then, you know, when we went on family vacations, we either went to the Caribbean or we drove to the Carolinas. So it was one of those two, and Disney wasn't in either of those locations.
And back then it was only like $29 or $39, you know, per person. I went to Busch Gardens in the 80s and it was $19 to get in.
Yeah.
Early 80s.
But think about how expensive that was back then. I remember in the late 70s, early 80s, trying to talk my mom into buying me a pair of $19 sneakers.
Yeah,
and it was an issue. They were the brand new Adidas that had just come out, had to have them for basketball. All the other kids were getting them.
Oh yeah, gotta keep up with them.
$15.
Yeah.
My mom was like, I can't see paying that for some sneakers.
And so I remember.
The reason that, gosh, I mean, I have mixed feelings about it. I mean, I absolutely think that every child should have the ability to go who's a fan of Disney. And I get the criticism because, like I said, we're trying, you know, we have been saving up. We started saving for this trip when our son was born, knowing that by the time he went, we wanted to provide him with a nice trip. So, and he's 6 now. So it shows you that we have been in our mind knowing that is not a trip you take spontaneously and expect to pay for it. You got to plan ahead.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing is, all you got to do is go to other theme parks. And I love the other theme parks. I love the theme park here in Atlanta. I have had yearly memberships to the theme park in Atlanta.
Right.
But it's different. And the one thing that I give credit to Disney for doing is they reinvest that money into the parks.
Right.
There is nothing like it. Like they clean the parks every single night.
So clean. Yeah.
It is so clean. Like they invest
well.
their time into those parks. And so when you get excited about the new Star Wars experience, that's the reason they're raising ticket prices.
Star Wars.
Right.
But that's why they're raising ticket prices, is because they are trying to profit from everything they're reinvesting in. So they're not for profit. They are for profit. So it's one of those things like I pay it because I know I'm going to get satisfaction when I'm there. I'm going to get magic. They truly do invest in magic when you're there. It is like, for instance, in the Animal Kingdom Lodge, like you're talking about, when you go into the public bathrooms at Animal Kingdom, they purposely pump in scents to smell like you're in a savanna. Like, I mean, to the minutest detail, they make you feel like, I mean, like she talked about the giraffe, they feed the animals around the resort. So they come close to your windows in the morning so you can see the animals. So, you know, Disney is meticulous.
Really
and so that's why I'm not as offended, because at least they're doing something with that money as opposed to just taking advantage of you.
You bring up a great point, Melissa, because we will pay for excellence. And just like anything, but when women buy a Louis Vuitton versus, you know, going to, you know, Walmart or Target, you're paying for value, you're paying for those lasting memories. And you're right, you bring up a great point. They reinvest it, they're meticulous, you go and you know you'll have a great experience. So people do save for years or maybe a lifetime to have that moment at Disney. We lived in St. Pete, Florida. So we had that annual pass from the time I moved to Florida, which I was 19, all the way for 20 years. So it was like in our back door, and the season passes were great. And you forget that other people save up a lifetime to go once. And I've probably been 100 times because I lived in Florida. Now I don't live in Florida. I've noticed there's a whole different expense. It's a whole different mindset.
That's right.
But that's why we go, because there's nothing like it. I mean, I don't want to say anything bad, but you go to Six Flags and there's gum on the wall and it could be more run down.
Well, that's why I didn't say the name. I've been a season pass holder because Six Flags is very close to me. And that's a fun, a wonderful experience, but it's not Disney. It's a different level. And even when you go to Universal, if we're going to talk others, like I've been to Universal in Orlando and it's a fun experience. But it's not Disney. I mean, their Harry Potter experience is getting very close to the Disney experience. But Disney does it better than anybody else.
They really do. And every kid, I mean, it's one of those things, if you get the kids, and this is marketing, you'll get the adults to buy it, because like once a kid knows about Disney, they're going to watch Disney somewhere, they're going to see a Disney movie, and it becomes part of their life. And
and the brilliant thing, and just to jump in really quickly, not to interrupt you, but the brilliant thing that Disney did, my mother, who was born in 1929, was the first Disney kid. She had access to Disney things. And so if you get the kid, you've got them as an adult with their kids. So the brilliance of Disney, the reason Walt Disney World and Disneyland is still there and still thriving and still growing and across the world is because the kids turned into adults who had kids, and their thought is just like with us. My son, he Disney, like, okay, like he knows the Disney stories. He knows the Disney, all right. It's his mother and I who are the ones like, we want to give you this experience that we had when we were a kid.
He doesn't know what he's missing yet.
Yes, he's not asking for this. He doesn't care. If we end up not going, he won't care. But it's like, but no, you do care. You do care.
You will care. Well, once you take him, he'll care. And Melissa, I'm glad you brought it up about Disney being so good and meticulous, because, I want every kid, and Mark, I want you to chime in on this, because I really am so big on nonprofits. And I was searching for nonprofits that give Disney dreams to kids, or maybe inner city kids or the poor. But Disney does have, and I found this, cast member pantry. So they do have some nonprofits like Give Kids the World's Village and Cast Member Pantry that has been helping their cast members. And that's what they call the people that work in the Disney parks, cast members. And they been helping them out with their family and their needs during this pandemic. So it is a really good giving back company. People may have different feelings, but looking at the stats, looking at that, they really do, like you said, put the money back into the parks for our experience. They're putting money back into their cast members, as they should, and helping their families during this and all of their layoffs. But let's talk a little bit about, is there any alternatives? Anybody helping kids? And what are some of the ones that help kids that are ill to have a Disney trip that doesn't cost the family anything?
Well, I went on a trip for 10 years with a former morning show I was a part of, and the organization's called Berts Big Adventure. And so they have medical staff that goes along on the trip, and it is for children who have chronic or terminally, diseases, chronic or terminal diseases, and their entire family gets to go. So the unique thing about Berts Big Adventure is, if you want to experience this, you want to experience this as a family, not just one guardian getting to go with them. So we would take the siblings and the grandparents and the parents, and everybody got to go free of charge. I went 10 years. So I went with, and I was their tour guide. The cast would split, and we would lead the families through the parks and be in charge of them. And I will say again that Disney treats these children who are on these trips and those who are handicapped services at Disney is top notch. So once again, they really have focused on children. But to your point, what about the children who just simply economically cannot afford to go? You're exactly right. There should be some relief services for kids to have that same experience, or at least field trips to where, imagine if you could have gone on a field trip to Disney World, Walt Disney World. And the reason I keep saying Walt Disney World, so Walt Disney died before Walt Disney World was finished. Right. And his brother is the one that finished it because he knew it was his brother's dream. And so when you go into Walt Disney World, there's a statue, but it's not of Walt. That is of his brother, because his brother's the one that made that happen. But his brother made sure that copyrighted Disneyland is Disneyland. But in Orlando, it's called Walt Disney World because it's almost a memorial to Walt Disney. Knew that. So there's a little trivia for you, that the reason in the logo you always see Walt in the name of the Orlando park, because he had already died.
I did not know that. And I didn't know that statue wasn't of Walt.
And it's not of Walt, it's of the brother that made it happen. Right.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome. A little trivia for you.
Mark, what are your thoughts? We've been having a conversation here, me and Melissa.
Well, it's interesting because, as a kid, like I said, I didn't get a chance to go, but I always wanted my kids to go because I'd heard so much about it and the mystique of it all. And so when I got a chance, to run my kids down there, it was awesome. And,
how old were they?
Yeah, they were younger, like junior high and elementary. But, again, it was hard. It was a hard trip because, the lines were long, and it was hot. We went in the summer, of course. So we could have planned it better, but, like they weren't clamoring to go back. But, I get, why kids love it because it's like, playland on steroids. I mean, everywhere you look is a super duper adventure. And, when you see the parades and all the characters and all the cast members coming by, like every kid, no matter what age you are, loves that. So, yeah. So when you say that, all kids should have the opportunity, absolutely. Do we live in a society that will allow for that to happen? Unfortunately, we're pretty far from that. Yeah. But, so, if you like you'd be hard pressed to find a parent who doesn't want to take their kid to Disney, right? It's just finding a way to make it happen. So Disney does provide opportunities for kids for people who need assistance.
Oh, what do they have?
An event or trip. Yeah. So there is a way to do it. But it's an organization that connects with Disney, and so a group or organization would reach out to Disney for assistance to coordinate a trip like that. So that's coming from a former Disney employee who worked there for 10 years and knows a lot of these and how it works. Yeah. So
how do you do it?
How do you do it? I'll have to ask her, and we can figure it out. But again, Disney probably realizes too that there are a ton of kids that aren't actually, being able to experience this. So maybe they do have things kids from the state of Florida that can come in, and because you see stories like that on the news all the time where, it's free admission or, reduced admission. And or some generous person covers the cost of admission. It happened. I've covered stories like that in the news over the
and another thing too is like you're talking about planning ahead. So if you have the means, if you plan ahead or save, and it's probably another person to ask if you don't have the means, which is a Disney travel agent. She was a great resource because we were like, we don't want to go on the on weeks. We want to go on the off week. We're willing to take our son out of school for a week to go just to reduce the cost. Right.
So much for school kids.
Yeah. And so, like I said, and I'm just living, because we're doing this as we speak. And so I actually, when my son was born, got a Disney credit card and I've just used that exclusively for 5 years because it incrementally will reward you these Disney dollars that you can convert on your bill. So half my cost of my hotel is paid for over the course of time of using my credit card.
Right. They had that, a Disney credit card.
They have a Disney credit card. I think it's Chase Bank that houses it.
Nice.
And I used, like I said, a Disney travel agent years in advance who helped walk us through. So they have to supplement what Mark said. A Disney travel agent probably is a great resource, as well as a Disney employee, for all those little tricks and things that you can do, but you got to plan ahead. That's one of the things you've got to. This is a years in advance type of planning rather than doing it 3 months or, unless you live in Florida, when, like you said, you don't have to stay in a hotel.
It's an hour and a half away. So yeah. Well, actually we did. Sometimes we take a day trip, but then staying there. We took Brian's 50th birthday, and we went to and stayed with Alyssa was 5, and we went and stayed at the Animal Kingdom
Lodge, right?
Kingdom Lodge with the giraffes coming in the window. And it was you could just stay in the hotel the whole time. We've been totally happy. But we took her, of course, to the parks, and you get the park hoppers. But the difference in cost living in Georgia to do that versus what I would have paid if I lived in Florida, I mean, it's just a huge difference.
It's like out-of-state tuition and in-state tuition.
Yeah.
And the other thing, and for people who've never been to Walt Disney World, when we talk about park hopper and stuff, like that is a massive that's not a trip you can do in a day. This is a massive property.
Yeah.
It has like 4 theme parks that by themselves are as big as like Six Flags, and they're all combined. And so you're going to wear yourself out.
That's why we can get there at like 9 in the morning. It's slam packed.
Yeah, exactly. Now I will say another trick. So Katie, my baby mama, she had not been since she was a kid. And when I mentioned I had gone on those trips for all those years, I'd come back and tell these stories of the new things that were at Walt Disney World. And she was kind of jealous. And so she and I went, just the two of us, and we went on Labor Day week. Okay. Nobody's in the park Labor Day week. School has already started back. It was us and a few people from Japan. And if you go the Labor Day Monday through that Friday, we didn't go on a weekend. We went just during the week. We were on Splash Mountain by ourselves. And we went back around. The person at the thing said, well, you want to go again? Because there was nobody to come on, and we were the only ones there. We're like, yeah. So we went on Splash Mountain again. So we had the park to ourselves. So it is worth also, if you're willing to go on an off week, it's worth it. Is worth it because it cost us it was about half off of what we would have done if we'd gone like 2 weeks earlier.
I wonder if there's going to be any off weeks now. We're coming out of quarantine, like let's say 6-9 months now, because all the people now that couldn't go, had a cancer, are all going to start coming out. We're all going to just go crazy to get out and be around crowds. Now it's going to be a good thing versus we don't want to be alone anymore.
Their money back.
I'm telling you,
their money back that they lost over a year.
They lost a ton of money. Right?
Oh,
so it's one of those things like, do you want special experiences? Or do you not? And then if you do, then are you able to complain about the cost of it? Like, because I don't complain about the cost of doing elite things for adults.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe it's because it's children is why we have such an issue with it.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. You do. You have to pay the premium price to have the value that they have, the amount they spend on the cleaning and making everything perfect and everything being just so top notch, from the animatronics to everything you see, is going to be like a world above anything else you're going to see anywhere else. So yeah, I'm willing to pay for that. My heart is always on how can I get other people to go. So I think maybe looking forward, maybe Smart Talk as the show could sponsor some families in the future.
Yeah, I think it'd be great.
I think that would be
because like you talk about being clean, like literally they pressure wash the parks every single night. So there's no gum. You never see any gum. And then the trash, they secretly take the trash out. So for those who don't know, these parks, especially Magic Kingdom, they're on the top floor of a building. So the building is underground. And so these characters are never allowed to be outside without their head on. They don't want to traumatize the kids.
Yeah.
And they go after that trash all the time, and they take the trash away. That you never see somebody hauling trash around you. They take it underground to go take the trash out.
There's a whole city underneath it.
Yeah,
there's a whole city underneath it. Yeah. So I mean, it's unlike any other place. It really is. And so to me, I'm sure if you had a, what is it? The balance sheet that you could see and make sure they're not taking advantage. But I still think that they,
I see our
everything
money.
Disney has just done so well.
They really have. Our money is in good work. And I think now if we just change the people that are watching the show and just think, okay, it's going to be that because you're going to be guaranteed just a spectacular time in memory, whether you go once in a lifetime or whether you're able to go multiple times. How about thinking now, if you do have means, that you save and help somebody else go with, too. So I think that'd be a great thing. How can we, whether people want to start nonprofits all the time, how about starting a nonprofit that helps, the disadvantaged now, especially so many more disadvantaged after quarantine. So
and again, it's just, yes, it was economically disadvantaged because there are several charities that help children who were sick.
Exactly.
But there's no able-bodied charities for kids who just don't have the money.
And so if you know of one you're watching, let us know. If you know of any foundation or any organization that helps kids, families that don't have the means or the money. And now, like I said, there's even more because of quarantine, jobs lost than ever before. And what better way? I don't think there's a lot of ways, but this is one good way. Then let's just say in the next 2, 3 years to plan a trip to Disney after all the world's been through. I just think that'd be such a great thing to look forward to for kids.
Happiest place on earth. Happiest place on earth.
Yes. So let's see what we can do. If you have means and can make that dream come true for someone, a family, just kids that have had it even rougher. Maybe they've lost a parent or grandparent, put a smile on their face. Let's just all put our heads together. And I always think if you just help the person next door, some of you may know it's in your community, in your world, that this would make the difference. And you have means to either do a fundraiser and surprise them. We don't always have to wait for the famous people to do it or the organizations to do it. Sometimes we can just get together. Women on a mission, I know, we can pull together some quick cash and some quick fundraisers. We can sell some Girl Scout cookies and make some money. We know how to do this. So maybe just
and help the family out, because if you've never been to Walt Disney World, I'm sure and I've been to Disneyland once, but I can't remember. But Walt Disney World is brilliant about everything you go into, you exit into a store. So, I mean, they're good. There's plenty of shopping opportunities at Walt Disney World.
For sure.
My kids had glue on their hands.
Yeah.
You get this?
Oh, and they're happy to take it for you to the front so you can pick it up on your way out. If you say, I have no
or they'll mail it to you, or they'll deliver it to your hotel room. That's my favorite, is if you are on an on-site resort, they'll be happy to deliver it to your hotel room so you don't have to carry it around the park. It's like you never bought it. Yes.
All right, real fast. What's your favorite? Do you have a favorite ride there? What's your favorite ride or experience at Disney? I know it's hard.
I don't have a favorite, because I didn't want to break anything, so I didn't want to ride anything at Disney. But
break it or break you?
Dueling Dragons, and we loved that.
Dueling Dragons. That's over in the Island of Adventure.
The cup ride was awesome. I love the teacup, because who doesn't?
Yeah.
Right? You just have to do it.
All right, you mentioned it. You mentioned the Dueling Dragons. It's on Island of Adventure, right? We were the first people there. This is back when Angel was in 1999. It hadn't opened. Remember, Rosie ODonnell had a show. She was going to do her show there. It was back in the day when Angel was just obsessed with NSYNC. They were brand new. We saw them for the first time on the pier in St. Pete. After that, they performed at Disney and they just shot up. And Angel looked at that little Justin Timberlake and she goes, he's going to be the next it. And she's been in love with them since 99. So at 2:00 in the morning, we go from St. Pete, where we live, to the Rosie ODonnell show that's going to be filmed at Island of Adventure before it's even open. So we go, we see them, we're like 4th row, and NSYNC's there. We see the Rosie ODonnell show, we get the Rosie doll autograph. Great experience. Didn't know at that time I had cancer because I was feeling some pain. So glad we went, though. Then we didn't know, after the show filming ended at 11 a.m., they let us all out into the park. It was not open to the public yet. We didn't know celebrities were walking around the park. Will Smith was there. And it was so much fun. And we followed around Justin Timberlake. And she almost got on the ride at Spider-Man with him. But we went on the Hulk. The Hulk is a great roller coaster. And here's what happened. We're 4 rows from the front. They lock us in. And all of a sudden, some are up and we can't get out. And they usher in right here, right next to me, getting on the front row while we can't get out. They lock you in, is Patrick Swayze. And
wow.
Right in front. And Angel was so cute because as it goes upside down, she's like, there he is. Because he was right off. And then they keep you locked in until he got off. We got his picture. He was so nice. And it was just the neatest experience. So that was priceless. That was a free experience because we went to the show taping.
Yeah.
It's so hard. But I'll tell you a memorable restaurant. And I don't know I think it's called, it's not Anytime Cafe, something Time Cafe, but it's in the movie studios park because they've changed names so many times. But if you go into was it called now? Anyway, but one of the theme parks at Disney is based on movies, and you walk in MGM Studios. Yeah. But it's not called MGM Studios anymore.
Not anymore. It's called something else.
Yeah, see what I'm saying? So anyway, because it used to just be MGM stuff, and then they expanded it. So now it's forgive me. People will correct me. There, leave it in the comments. So when you walk in, you walk to the left. As soon as you walk into the park and you're able to get to the left, there's some restaurants right there. And there's one called, I believe it's Anytime Cafe. based in the 50s, based on 50s television shows. They have the decor is all 50s. There's 50 TV shows on TVs on the table. But the best part is everybody's in character. So for instance, if We're All has a reservation under my name, it's like the Carter kids, let's go. The Carter kids, let's go. And they act like your parents. So I went in, I was chewing gum. They're like, and put their hand out and said, give me your gum.
Can't do that anymore.
I know, right? This is before the pandemic, and took my gum, made us get to the seat, and then said, okay, no, you got to go wash your hand. Go wash your hands right now. I can't believe you haven't washed your hands. So you're treated like a child before dinner while you're watching your 50s television. And it is hilarious.
Disney Hollywood Studios.
Thank you. And this cafe, I'm telling you, like, so it's not just about the rides. It's also about the experience within these restaurants. And this restaurant, you walk in and it's the 1950s, and it is,
I would love that,
hilarious. And that people are yelling at people to go watch they're yelling. I mean, they ask me if I'm going to finish my plate. If I, like but it's abuse that you love because you're this adult. They don't treat the kids that way. They treat the parents that way, which is very funny.
Okay. I don't know if you had a good memory or a bad memory.
I know, right? But no, it's, but that's the thing. Is like, I love a theme. I love when they're in character. It's like you've walked into a movie, and it's just, I don't know. There's something about that place that I just love. So that's my memory.
I love that. Well, I'm going to go right into not so smart, because I'm going to show you a Disney not so smart. This has been so much fun. We could talk Disney all day long. If y'all have great memories at Disney, let us know. Have some fun with this. And again, if you know anyone that helps people and kids and families get
and comment your favorite ride or restaurant or whatever it is. Give people ideas. Yeah. Give me an idea, because we're taking Mr. Carter soon. So I haven't been in years. So there's probably I haven't been since the Star Wars experience. I mean, that's where Mama's going to be, is over at Star Wars. So anyway, sorry to interrupt.
No, it's fine. We're going to go with her, Mark. We're going to hide in her bag.
It's fine. Exactly. Come on, let's go.
I think we need to do a show from Disney. Be right off.
Get on the road.
Yes.
All right. Well, speaking of hitting the road, that's a perfect segue to my not so smart. Take a look at this parade. It looks all fine and dandy. I love the parades at Disney, but not so smart to be hip hopping around on the railways. If you notice by their feet, the railway, when it's wet.
Oh,
there you go.
No, ow.
Ouch.
And you could tell by he was not okay.
No.
He was stunned. I think his head hit he wasn't okay.
That's tailbone right there.
Hats, are they helmets? Oh, just be careful. And we were saying it's fun to laugh at people as long as you don't know that hurts. But
yeah, other people falling is a little funny.
Funny.
Not when you do it. As long as they're okay, that's right.
Hey, hit the pavement running and let's get to Disney World. Literally. It was next.
So listen, baby. Here's what happened over in the UK. There was a couple that decided they were going to go vegan. One was more committed than the other. Yeah.
Okay.
Apparently the woman was dumped by her vegan boyfriend for her secret nugget trips. And when I say nuggets, I'm not talking about nuggets of information. I'm talking about chicken nuggets.
Chicken nuggets.
He dumped her because she was going out behind his back and cheating on their veganism.
With chicken nuggets.
He was having chicken nuggets while he was sitting at home eating Impossible burgers. And he didn't like it.
Well, who's the one that's not so smart?
Yeah. Well, we need to decide.
No, look, yes, no offense. No, there's no judgment here. But it is, yes, you got to commit to the you got to commit. You got to commit, right? Like if you're going to do something like that, but she couldn't do it, could she?
Eating nuggets without your honey knowing it.
Somewhere in that argument was, who do you love more, the chicken or me?
Yeah.
And she put the chicken before the egg.
The chicken. Okay, that was good.
He was sneaking out, going to the supermarket and running errands, and then she'd stop by Mickey D's and eat a bunch of nuggets or a McChicken.
How did she get caught?
She got caught because she was acting suspicious.
Oh, he smelled like chicken too.
I was gonna say there's some crumbs or something. She's
not so smart.
All right, Melissa, go to your not so smart after that one.
So, we've been talking about Disney and talking about parents who would do anything for their children, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what you want to give your kid an experience. You'll sacrifice, you'll spend 6 years trying to get this trip together. Well, there's a man in Washington State by the name of Dustin Bushnell, and he would do anything for his kid too, right? And he couldn't afford what he really wanted for his kid. It's not a Disney trip, but it's a slide. And not just any slide. He decided that he was going to go to the local playground.
Oh no.
And take a 400-pound slide.
How do you lift that?
From a public place? I don't have the details on how Dustin got that slide out of that park, but not only did he get it out of the park, he erected it in his child's bedroom.
And it doesn't fit.
No, in the world.
They're going to slam it in the wall.
It barely fits. Yeah, he's going to slam right out. But yeah, so.
Was this a mugshot?
That's a mugshot.
Dustin, really? Oh, God.
Dustin got arrested for possession of stolen property.
I want to see that video. How the heck he got it into whatever he got it into?
I don't know. 400-pound slide from a public.
Felonious slide stealing.
Now, if this happened, look, if this was my father, if this was Bob Carter back in 1976, let's say, and he stole that slide from the public park and put it in my room, then I wouldn't be able to wear shorts on it because it was those iron slides.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
The old school slides were huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, yeah, you got a little bit of a nosebleed when you got to the top of the steps before you took the plunge. But
anyway, those metal ones got real hot. Remember those hot ones in the park?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like you've just burned. Yes, but yeah, not so smart. I mean, I know he loves his son. I feel bad, but I'm impressed by this guy though. I'm a little impressed.
I love the effort.
A little impressed.
I'm not impressed with the mathematical dimensions of that room. Doesn't look like, oh yeah, let's put a slide in here. That's what this room needs. A giant 400-pound slide.
I know.
Open the door to the bathroom. Slide right into the bathtub, kids.
Well, it makes it look like a New York hotel room because that's what a New York hotel room looks like. It's like the furniture is so much bigger than the room itself.
Right. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, that was
a lot of room left for the desk and chair. He's studying in there.
I wonder what the penalty was when he goes to the police station. What do you slap? Is there a fine? Is there jail time? What's the penalty for taking that? They're probably looking at
because the cops had to be a little impressed. The cops had to be a little impressed, right?
Okay.
Think.
Yeah. Crazy. All right. Well, so not a lot of people out there. Well, guys, be smart. Save for a Disney trip. If you've already been and you don't want to go again, save for somebody else. Give it away because we only live once. And if we've learned anything from this past year, life is short and you just never know. You just never know.
Because you want to be able to wish upon a star, Aurea.
Star, yes. And remember, be a taker and bounce back. Don't be an Eeyore. Hey. You guys have a great week. Love you guys. We got to take a trip to Disney. Make somebody else's wishes come true, whatever that means. Give a smile. Pay for somebody's lunch. Pay for somebody's Starbucks and a drive-through. Make them. We can all be a Walt Disney in some way. Everybody give the ears. Bye. Bye. Have a great one.